Hey guys! Today I'm going to be going over my healer build for the Summerset chapter of the Elder Scrolls Online. In this video, I'll be briefly going over my gear setup, but also focusing on the changes to the healing meta in this patch. To start off, good sets to have as a healer are Alorime, Yorvald's Guidance, Mending, Sanctuary, Infallible Aether, and Worm Cult. You want to have infused large pieces with either 2 or 3 Tri-Stat enchants on them, and divine small pieces with Magicka enchants. For your weapons, I would recommend getting set staves for the sets you find yourself running a lot. I recommend Alorime staves as well as an Asylum resto so it's easier to move things around. I run a powered resto with a weakening enchant or a spell damage enchant, and a charged lightning staff with a shock enchant. As a healer in a trial, you will typically combine 2 of the sets I listed earlier for use. The 2 sets you choose to use are situational, and you need to decide what is best for your group. If your group is new to the content, then I highly recommend prioritizing a defensive set like Mending over offensive sets like Yorvald's. The changes to 2-handed weapons this patch make them count as 2 pieces toward a set bonus. This is especially nice because it more easily allows the use of a 2-piece monster helm on a healer. There aren't too many 2-piece monster helms that are fantastic on healers, but I have been enjoying running Bogdan the Nightflame, particularly in Cloudrest. It heals for a lot and procs frequently. You can also run 5-1-1 this way and get the Undaunted bonus to your resources. Double barring 2 5-piece sets while wearing a 2-piece monster set does not allow you to run a special staff such as the Asylum resto or the Master resto, but if you have a set that only needs to be active on 1 bar, you can still make these staves work with monster sets. If you don't want to run a monster set on your healer, you can continue running 7 light and 2 staves of whatever you'd like. Summerset also added several new traits for jewelry. I think I get asked about this more than anything else. Your jewelry traits and enchants will change based on whatever set you're wearing and how those affect your sustain. For example, if you're wearing Alorime and Yorvald's together, both of these sets give a ton of regen bonuses. So I would keep running the same 3 arcane jewels with 2 cost reduction enchants and 1 regen enchant, or potentially replace one of the cost reduction with the spell damage if you feel like it. On the other hand, if I were wearing sets that don't provide as much sustain, I would run 1 infused cost reduction and 2 arcane recovery glyphs. This is my personal preference as I don't like having too much regen over cost reduction, but you should use what works best for you. The main change healers are seeing this patch is the addition of the new set Vestment of Alorime from the new trial. It supplies major courage to your group members when they stand in the AoE effect created by the proc. This set is good for a few reasons. One being it applies to 12 people while SBC only applies to 6. This means only 1 healer in your group needs to run it. 2, the buff is way more consistent, as your group members only need to step into the circle to get the buff, whereas there was some RNG and circumstance to SBC proccing. And 3, you only have to run it on 1 bar. The length of the buff is very long, and if you want to run a 2-piece monster helm, an Asylum resto or Master resto, and back bar and Alorime staff, you most certainly can. It requires a little bit more attention than having it double barred, but this is a very nice option to have. So yes, healers are finally getting a replacement for SBC. With this new set, SBC will not see much use, if any, in a competitive trial environment. As a side note, I would like to clarify that the buffs from SBC and Alorime do not stack, as they both grant the buff Major Courage now. I think that was missing from the patch notes going to live, but it was in the patch notes on the PTS. Since only 1 healer in the group needs to run Alorime, the options healers have now as far as gear setups are much more diverse. Alorime and Yorvald's is a great combination on 1 healer, for example, because Yorvald's buffs the duration of Major Courage to 42 seconds. However, you may find this to be overkill with the already very long duration of Major Courage and its 10-second proc cooldown. These changes allow for the second healer to run any 5-piece sets of their choice. Any combination of the sets I listed at the beginning of the video will work. As for skills are pretty much the same as they were before. Healing Springs or Illustrious Springs, Energy Orb, Combat Prayer, Breath of Life, and a flex spot for Guard, Inner Light, a shield, or whatever else you may need or want. Backbar you want Shards, Elemental Drain, Extended Ritual or Ritual of Ret, and then 2 flex spots for a shield, Lightning Blockade, Bone Shield, Channeled Focus, a Dawn's Wrath ability, or whatever you want. For your attributes, you want to put as many points into health as you need to reach 18k with your food buff on. This varies by race, so it may not be the same for everybody. For your food, you want to run Clockwork Citrus Fillet or Witch Mothers. This is for the bonus regen you get from it. For Mundus Stone, I recommend the Atro Mundus Stone to most healers because it supplies magic or regen. This patch in Cloudrest, I've been running the Ritual Mundus for extra healing. I have not experimented too much outside of Cloudrest with it, but as long as you can sustain it, I see no problems running it elsewhere. I do want to talk briefly about my general setup for Cloudrest because that is something I get asked about a lot too. In Cloudrest recently, I've been pairing Allurime with Mending because the uptime without Yorbolds is still very high, and the mitigation from Mending is helpful. I have Allurime double barred in this trial because with all magic and Nightblade DPS there isn't a need for combat prayer, thus making the Asylum Resto useless and not really necessary. Currently in Cloudrest, our other healer is running Infallible Aether and Worm Cult. Infall applies minor vuln to enemies which increase the damage they take, and Worm Cult is seeing used again in Cloudrest due to the 8 Magicka DPS we are currently running. Sanctuary is also a very good set in Cloudrest if you're looking for an alternative to one of the sets I mentioned. Here's a picture of some general CP that will work for most content, if you aren't looking to change it all the time. And here's a picture of my Cloudrest CP for those of you who are looking to venture into the trial. That pretty much concludes my build for this patch. I know this video had more information about meta changes than my past build videos did, but I felt like it was important to talk about the changes to explain why some things have changed with Summerset. I hope you found this video helpful, and as always, thanks for watching.